Good morning. Today I'm going to show you how to design using Inkscape. I had a request on my YouTube channel about the platform 9 3/4 sign that I did. So I'm going to run through it quite quickly. Alright, this is a program called Inkscape. It's a free download. And first thing I want to do is I want to get some text in. So on the left column you'll see the letter A. Just click on that and that gives me a text option. So to start off, I'm going to type in the name I want. So it's platform. Let me zoom in on that a little bit, make it a bit bigger. Now you can use your keyboard and do a 9 and a 3/4 if you want. It's not going to quite come out the way you want to. So what I'll do later is I'll find an image of the 9 3/4 and I'll add that in. Alright, so we have platform there. We don't really like that font, so I'm going to change that. I'm going to highlight the platform, and in this box here, the top left hand corner, these are your different fonts. Now I've got quite a load of fonts downloaded on here. You can go onto a website, something like DaFont, they have thousands of different fonts on there. Find some ones that you like and download them, install them on your computer, and you'll be good to go. Now the font that I used for my platform 9 3/4 was the Old English, I believe. So I'm just going to scroll through here, see if I can find it. Quite a few on there. There we go. Old English text. So I'm just going to click on that, and it automatically changes the font I have there. I'm going to make that a bit bigger. So I have my word there. If you come up a little bit higher, you're going to see a little lock icon. I'm going to go ahead and click that. So then when I go to make my sign bigger, it doesn't deform it. So if I pull it now, doesn't matter which way I go, it's going to stay uniform. If that's unclicked, I can stretch it, move it however I want to. That looks pretty good. I'm going to leave that like that. Alright, now I'm going to go on to Google and I'm going to find my 9 3/4. So I want 9 3/4 image. And I think I will go with that one. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this picture and I'm going to save the picture. And then I'll go in and adapt that later. Okay, so now I want to get that picture that we just downloaded into Inkscape. So I'll come up here into File, Import. Don't need to change anything on here, just click OK. And you can see it's actually quite a big image. So now this is just a picture, we need to convert it. So we're going to come up here into Path. The first line, Object to Path, is what we want to click. Then we're going to go back into Path again. We're going to do Trace Bitmap. Now this is going to allow us to change that picture into something we can use and change. So we're going to do this button here, Live Preview, just so we can see what we're doing. That's what your image is going to look like. So I'll click OK. Then I can close that box. And now you'll see I've got two. So I'll go back to the initial download, and I'm just going to get rid of that. So I'll delete that. Okay, so now we have our image that we can use. But of course you can see there's quite a size difference between the 9 3/4 and the platform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them to the same size. Now if I go on to platform, just highlight that. At this top bar, we're looking at units of measurement. It's currently in centimeters, and put that into inches. Okay, we got 3.543 wide, 1.048 tall. So I'm going to change that to, say, 3 inches tall. There we can see that a little bit better. Now I need to convert the 9 3/4 to the same thing. So I'm going to click on the 9 3/4 now, come into the same H box, which is for height, and go to 3. So that will give me the same size as my capital P here. Now we have layout, and we kind of want to have the 9 3/4 centered on the platform. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the 9 3/4. I'm going to hold the shift key, and I'm going to come and tap on the platform, which will then highlight both of them. Now over here on our right hand side we have a list of boxes. Our top one is going to be align and distribute. So I'm going to go and tap on that, scroll up to the top, and you're going to see this selection of boxes. You can align it to the right hand side of the page, left hand side, the center, the bottom, however you want. What I would like to do is I would like to line them up in the center. So make sure this box is on last selected, and go ahead and click the center on horizontal axis. And that lines these up perfectly. Now I think perhaps I'd like that a little bit closer, so I'm just going to slide it over. Same process again, hold the shift key, click on platform, come back over, line it back up. Alright, now there we have our basic layout. Now what I like to do when I'm carving a sign is I add in the sign shape at the same time. So that way I can carve everything out, I can see how everything's laid out. So what I need to do is find a shape that I like. So I'm going to go back onto Google, and I'm just going to type in sign shapes. I'll come into images, and you see a whole range of different sign shapes that you can use. So these ones are nice and clean. Yeah, when you're looking at this, you really do want to see the quality of the picture. If the picture looks fuzzy and grainy on this screen, it's going to look even worse when you finally downloaded it. Okay, so I'm going to right click on here and save picture as. Okay, I can close that. So I'm going to go to the desktop now, and what I would like to do is use a different program that I have called PaintNet. So I'm going to right click on that one, open with PaintNet. PaintNet is another free download. Works really good for editing and cropping pictures and images. Alright, so we have our image selected. I'm going to come up into here into Image, Crop to Selection. It's going to get rid of everything except what we've just highlighted. So click on that, and we have our sign shape. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Okay. And go back into Inkscape. So we're going to go into File, top left corner, click on that for Import. There we have our sign. At the moment it's not very useful like that, so again we have to change it from a picture. So I'm going to go into Path, Object to Path, Path again, Trace Bitmap, give us our highlighted sign. Go ahead and click OK, and close that box. And there you can see the sign we've chosen. So I'm going to get rid of this one. Now looking at this, it's not very useful. It's just a black shape, so I need to change that. So coming again to the menu on the right hand side, the title said Fill and Stroke. So I'm going to come onto Stroke, click on that one. I want to turn the stroke on. You can choose any of these ones, but I'm going to go for this box. What this is, it's going to do an outline on the sign. So that's clicked on, and I'm going to go on to the next button there, fill. Click on that. I'm going to turn that off. The fill is the color inside the box, so I'm going to get rid of that. And there we have a shape. I'm going to plug in my laptop is what I'm going to do. Now what I want to do is make this sign fit what we've done so far. So I'm going to come up to the lock icon. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to drag that over. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Control, come over to the right hand arrow, and I'm going to drag that sign. If I hold Control, it uniformly increases the shape of the sign. If I would just like to stretch it, release Control, hold the Shift key, and just pull it, and it's going to stretch it. Okay, so first let's make it a little bit taller. That's holding the Shift key, stretching, right hand arrow, and stretch it out. Okay, I'm going to slide that over so it's more centered. I think that looks pretty good. I like to give myself a little bit of an edge around the letters. Now what I'm going to do, this text is going to be outset. So I want to give myself another barrier so I can have an outset shape as well. So at the moment, we've got only the sign shape is highlighted. I'm just going to move that so it's clear. All right, click on that. We're going to hold Control and D. That's going to duplicate it. Okay, nothing has happened yet. But if I go like this, you can see we've now got two. Okay, Control Z, so that's exactly where it was. Now I'm going to hold the Shift button, take one of these diagonal lines, and draw it out slightly. So now we've doubled our sign, used it exactly, and we've got I think what looks like a good template. Alright, so we still have the exterior sign highlighted. We need to hold the Shift key, touch the interior sign so they're both highlighted. Now we're going to come up to Object in the top menu, click on that, and you'll see a button that says Group. So we're going to hit that. Now instead of being two objects, that's now one. So now I can move that around. Okay, I'm going to locate that over. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to do the same thing to platform 9 3/4 as I did to this. I'm going to make it into a group. So I'm going to highlight platform 9 3/4. You can see it's two separate boxes. Come up into Object, Group, and again now it's one, so I can move it. So I'm going to locate that down into our sign. All right, now I want to get it lined up. So I'm going to hold the Shift key. I'm going to highlight the sign shape. So now you can see both of them are highlighted. Come back over to the right hand side menu, and I'm going to align it both vertically and horizontally. First I'll do it vertically. You can see the platform 9 3/4 has just shifted over a bit, and I'm going to highlight it, align it horizontally. So now it is exactly in the center of that shape, and we have our sign. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to highlight that entire bit, make it into a group. So I'm over to Object, come down to Group, make it into a group. All right, now with Inkscape you can't print it all in one go, unfortunately. If you see this page shape, that's an A4 sheet, or you can change the dimensions if you want. I have it at A4, and we need to put this onto there, and only what's in that will print. So first thing I need to do is I need to reverse this sign shape. Now, if we print it out like that and then put it onto our board, the way I transfer is using the LaserJet lacquer thinner method, the sign would come out backwards. If you just want to carve straight through the paper, print it out just like that. But I want to flip it, so I'm going to come up here, top menu again, Object, flip horizontal, and if you see now, it has gotten a mirror image. Now, the most effective way to use paper, if I do it like this, I'd have to do 3 copies. If I switch the sign to a vertical orientation, I should be able to get to 2 copies. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back up to Object, rotate 90 degrees, and that gives me a better orientation. Alright, so now we are middle of the page, centered up. I'm just going to go ahead and print this off one time, and then I'll show you how it looks. And there we have it. So I'll zoom out. I'm going to rotate it back again, flip back over so we can see it clearly. There's our sign. Alright, so now we have our 2 printed sheets. I need to match them up. Okay, so when it comes to the actual transfer method, I'm going to use the laser printer and acetone cellulose thinners transfer technique. Okay, it's just a regular piece of pine. I've given it a rough sand to about a 120. And this is the stuff I'm going to use. You can use acetone. The stuff I mainly use is cellulose thinners. It's roughly the same thing. All I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up right onto my board, clamp it down, dab some of this on it, and it'll start to transfer. It should come across pretty clearly. Put that on so it's right orientation for you. Now I'm going to line my bottom line up with the bottom of the board. Now I used to wet the board first. I don't do that anymore. I think it kind of depends on your where you are, your climate. In England, it's quite a damp climate. Imagine if you were in a nice dry spot, this stuff evaporates very quickly. You can see the pattern coming through. Again, this only works with the this particular method only works if you have a laser printer. If you have inkjet, there's other methods that you can use, or you don't have to reverse the image at all. You can just glue the paper straight down. Now what you need to do with this is you need to give it a minute or so to work. What the acetone does is it reacts with the pigment from the laser printer and starts to melt it. Once it's actually made progress, we can start to burn shit off. If I start too soon, what happens is it tends to blur. Can I just give you a little example? Alright, so I've just touched there, and it's starting to blur. So just give it literally about a minute. You'll see the image start to fade, and as it's fading, you know, just be patient with it for a sec. Do some test spots. Look for that blurring. If it's not blurring, okay, it's not blurring now. I just use a soup spoon, something with a nice flat base. Doesn't have to be that. Alright, as you can see, I'm using a spoon to burnish. When you're burnishing, you need to apply quite a bit of pressure. Follow the lines as you're going along. Go over them once, go over them twice. You can raise the paper and check on your progress. If it's not coming through, go back over it again, rub it a little bit harder, and if necessary, you can always reapply more thinners, do the process again to get the ideal transfer. It's fast, that means you can get more done, which means your profit margins can be larger. Alright, there we go. Now if you take a look at the O, that's where the overlap was, so you see there wasn't a lot of transfer on the middle of it, but you can still see the lines. That's fine. This is going to be an outset carving, so all this will be removed. And it gives me the shape of the sign itself, so I can stick it on my scroll saw and we're good. The only place that hasn't come out well that I don't like while I'm drawing with a pencil is the bit on the M. So I hope that helps. I hope you found that interesting, slightly informative. This was a special request by one of my subscribers. If you would like me to design a sign, if you have issues with Inkscape, you're curious about the process, if you have any questions, drop me a message, put a like on it. If you want to request anything, do so. Okay, so please like, subscribe, see lots more like this. Thanks for watching.